Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Philip Newbury here with a special Ask the Expert. And joining me this morning is Elaine von Cannon, who is a realtor with Coldwell Banker Traditions. And she's a team leader, residential and commercial property manager. And you can find her at 4071 Ironbound Road, Williamsburg. 757-229-9595. That's the office, and there's a direct number that you can get Elaine at. 757-288-4685. And also in the studio with us today is Kevin Onazuk, branch manager with J.G. Wentworth Home Lending, and they are here to answer your questions on buying or selling real estates. Now, Kevin, as I said, is a branch manager with J.G. Wentworth. You can find him at 113 Boulevard, Suite C in Williamsburg. Probably the best number to catch him at is his cell number. Would you say that's right, Kevin?
That would be right.
All
that
right.
number is 757-645-8996.
You got it.
Call me or text me. I'd say anytime, but, I do sleep every now and then.
All right. Well, good morning, both of you, Elaine and Kevin. And it's nice to have you here again for another Ask the Expert. Okay, we had a call here at the station, and the caller's question was, how can I get a person off the title of a property? Elaine, can you answer this question? I couldn't answer it, but I knew you were coming in, so let's go with it.
Yes, I can, Philip. I'm going to give you some examples, so people will know they can relate to it. Say you have a property, and it's got a couple of nieces and nephews on it with you.
Uh-huh.
And because their parents has passed and it went to them.
I see.
And you want to get them off because you're the one paying the taxes, you're the one keeping the insurance, you're the one doing everything. Well, you just cannot kick their lazy selves off.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure most people would want to, but you would have to do a quitclaim deed, and they would have to sign it.
Yeah.
And then you take it to the courthouse.
I see.
And then it would be put in the records, and they would be off. Now, when you do a divorce, which we've had a divorce questions come up before, a judge can order one of the persons to go off the deed, but you would still have to sign it. Anything that you do, you have to sign it. There has to be a paper trail.
Yeah.
Because
sure
otherwise, if you go to sell it, it's going to come up and it's going to bite you when Kevin and his wonderful thing called underwriting in the sky will come down on you about this.
Okay. I hope that clarifies it for our caller to the station. I'm sure that will help them.
And just as an aside, Philip,
Yeah.
if there is a mortgage on that property, that can add additional layers of complication.
See.
So let's say they purchased the home in two people's name. Two people are on the deed, two people are also on the mortgage. As the mortgage company may not allow someone to be removed without their permission.
Uh-huh.
The mortgage was approved with both of those people owning it, both of them being on the mortgage. So that's something you would want to contact your current mortgage company to verify if there is, a mortgage on the property.
And that brings up another issue. Suppose you want to put it in your LLC, Kevin, all right, or a trust, but the loan, there is a mortgage on it. If there's no mortgage, we have no issue. But if there's a mortgage on it, do you or do you not have to let your lender know?
What are you supposed to do versus what people actually do are two different things. For a residential mortgage, when you purchase it, you do it in the name of individuals. Now, some folks will do it often in an investment property purchase situation where post-closing, they will want to transfer the property into an LLC for ownership because it gives them protection. In the event something happens at the property, etc., it can't blow back financially on them personally. So a lot of folks will go file that quitclaim deed or do some other things. You are supposed to contact the mortgage company. The mortgage company probably will not let you do it simply because we did the mortgage as an individual residential mortgage. Although nowadays you can purchase in the name of the LLC again. That used to be big back in the heyday. You could do really anything you wanted. Then after the housing bubble popped and we had the real estate crisis, lending contracted, we would not do anything in the name of an LLC anymore. But some of those basic programs are coming back, where we have a lot more flexibility than we did 5 to 10 years ago. And it's smart flexibility, though. It's not like
Yeah.
the crazy days where if you could fog a mirror, you could get a mortgage. Now it's smart, common sense things to help make home ownership possible and affordable and even practical.
Well, thank you, Kevin. That's really has helped that listener with their question. Okay, another question for you, Kevin. When you're making a loan, what sort of title issues do you find that comes up?
Philip, that's a really great question. And as you go through the home purchase process, whether with my side on the mortgage or with Elaine side as the real estate agent or with title and closing, there are hundreds of things that can go wrong. There's hundreds of things that can come up. And that's why it's important to have good local professionals on your side to help out. But I guess in general, liens, judgments, survey issues, things that maybe no one knew about can come up. On a purchase, it's the seller's responsibility to clear those items and give a clear title to the property. So when you're doing a purchase, the real estate attorney or title company's office will go down to the courthouse, search the history of that property, see who owns it, what liens, mortgages, judgments are on there, and all of those would have to be paid and cleared by the seller side to proceed with the purchase so that the buyer gets the house free from any liens or encumbrances from the previous owner from the seller. On a refinance, very similar, except you already own it, so any liens or judgments are probably on you. In a purchase situation, when you get that clear title report, so the seller is saying they're giving you a clear title, all the liens and judgments will be satisfied, then you get title insurance.
I see.
So when you're getting a mortgage, lender's title insurance is required. It's required to protect the mortgage amount, the interest, and it's optional to get owner's title insurance. Most people do that. The owner's title insurance protects your interest in the property. So if you're buying it without a mortgage, you can still get owner's title insurance. It lasts for the life of the time you have the property, and it protects against any liens, judgments, anything that may have been missed when you're going through the purchase process, maybe going through everything, because courthouses aren't perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can misfile or mistag things on a different property, but it's a legitimate lien. It could be you buy your house and 3 years later, someone shows up on your doorstep and says, hey, my great grandpappy willed this house to me. Here's a copy of the will. Get out of my house. So owner's title insurance would then step up and satisfy their claim against that property. It could even cover, in some cases, owner's title policies cover survey issues.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't caught that your neighbor's shed or let's say your shed is built 3 feet into the neighbor's yard, the neighbor says, get that shed off my yard, some title policies will come and pay to remove your shed.
Yeah.
So they do offer a lot of protection. And honestly, you never know what's going to show up. I have a purchase that was supposed to close this week, and it was supposed to close Wednesday. And the seller's side has been kind of pushing back and pushing back. They couldn't get a payoff from their existing lender, where we talked about they have to give clear title. Well, finally, attorneys got involved, and their existing lender is saying, well, your seller doesn't own the property anymore, that we actually foreclosed 2 years ago, but we never filed it properly, etc. So now it's a big fight and a big mess that is going to be costly to everybody. So again, you never know what's going to happen. You never know when it's going to happen.
No.
That's why it's critical to have good local professionals on your side, like Elaine, like myself, and a good local qualified real estate attorney or title company.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, Elaine, would you like to weigh in on that question?
Yes, I would. And Kevin's absolutely correct. I'll give you an example that I learned a long time ago when I was building Williamsburg with George Washington and the boys. There was an issue that went to a class on getting title insurance, because a lot of the people do not want to pay for theirs, but the lender will make them pay on their loan in the mortgage in the closing costs. They will have to pay for the lender. Well, with that being said, there was a suit in New Jersey. Of course, we know New Jersey presents a Jersey Shore, so that does not surprise me.
Right.
But there was a suit in New Jersey, and it was a big housing development. It had been a big dairy farm a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, the heirs sold it. They got the money.
Yeah.
The developer developed it. The houses has been there about 15 years, and here comes this little man. And he said, where is my half of my part of the money? They said, who are you?
Yeah.
He said, I'm the illegitimate child of the guy that owned it.
Ah,
Court case, DNA,
yeah.
he won.
He won.
He won.
Good for him.
So everybody there that had title insurance, their title insurance paid a portion to him.
Wow.
About 10 of them did not have title insurance.
I see.
So they had to get an equity line or a personal loan, but they had to pay up out of pocket.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they did.
You may never need your title insurance. You may never use it. But your car insurance you pay every month. Your health insurance you pay every month.
Yeah.
This is a one-time fee to protect the biggest investment you're going to buy. So you really need to get it. And then they don't reissue the policies. So if you lose it, you're up the creek. You might be in the canoe, but you don't have no paddle. Put it in a safety deposit box or a strong box or a safe or somewhere where you can put your hands on it when you need it.
Right.
Because you
Well,
never
that's
know.
good. I'd never thought of that, but that's worth knowing.
You never know this.
How do you get that?
When the lender or is making the loan under your closing, your title company or your lawyer will say, do you want title insurance?
I got you.
And I tell my buyers, shake your head yes and don't say nothing else. You want it, you're going to get it.
Yeah,
And
need it.
Yeah, because in this day and age, you just, especially with DNA, where they can prove stuff now, you just never know who's going to come up and make a claim on it. And it's like, Kevin, it's like that. It was like he was saying, it could be somebody that they missed when they did the air search, because those things are not 100%. There could be a missing air that the search just did not bring up. You know, they thought they died in Vietnam, or they were the hijacker that jumped out of the plane or something, but they're still alive and they still want their money.
Yeah.
Right. And title insurance claims don't happen terribly often, but when they do, they're very expensive.
It's a biggie.
So it's a very worthwhile investment. It's a small investment up front. On a purchase, it can be part of the seller paid closing costs, so the seller can pay for this protection for you. It's not extra out of pocket for you. It's part of traditional purchase closing costs, but it can give you a lot of protection and peace of mind. Again, probably nothing will ever happen, but if it does, they can be
you're
very
covered.
expensive.
Yes.
You're covered, yeah. Well, that's good. That's
And,
a good tip to
There was
learn.
another issue that came up about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It didn't come up with one of my transactions, but it came up with some another agent's transaction, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They were going to close, and it was land. It was like 3 acres.
Yeah.
Now, the lenders used to require them to do surveys. But, Kevin, I think now that's not a requirement, right?
Correct.
It used to be, though, a long time ago, if it was any acreage, or even small plats, the lender could require a survey. They don't do that now.
We do not require surveys any longer, and title insurance generally will cover survey issues if they were to come up.
Well, this came up before they closed, and what it was a fence. Was 4 foot over on the property line.
Yeah.
Well, it hadn't been there 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
so you couldn't keep it there. So the seller knew that.
Mm-hmm.
The seller did not tell the agent. No, I take that back. The seller did know it, and the seller did tell the agent.
Okay.
But the agent thought it's no big deal.
Right.
Okay? Well, since it was acreage, the buyer asked for a survey. 5 days before closing, guess what?
Go on, tell
We
us.
have an issue because the fence is over, and because everybody knows, because disclosure, the lender says, fence has to be moved, or we are not going to, because they saw the survey, we're not going to close. So they had to move the fence before they could close.
Okay.
And things like that, you think, oh, nobody will know. They will find out, because don't they do a title? They do a title search once they get the contract in.
Yeah.
Then they do a title search about 3 to 5 days before closing. They'll do another title search, right, Kevin?
Possibly. That's up to the title and closing company.
I know the one I use, Jamestown Title does. They'll do another one. And so if you decide you're going to go out and buy a whole brand new bunch of furniture and a car, and it switches your debt to income ratio, Kevin's going to say, what did you do here? We have an issue, you know.
We do monitor credit. That's
Yes.
exactly right. So if you go out and buy something on credit, we will see that new account and have to account for that new monthly payment.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you can put people on title even if they're not on the mortgage.
That is correct.
And you can do it at closing. They don't have to be on the contract. You can do it at closing. They used to have to be on the offer to purchase, but they don't now. Used to, we have what you call straw buyers, and that could be a pickle when you're getting title issues. It would be Kevin LLC and or Kevin Jones and or assigns. So you don't know who the and or assigns is. Now, back when, like Kevin said, you could fog a mirror, so long as you weren't in the grave with the dirt over you could get a mortgage. They didn't say anything about that. But nowadays, I'm pretty sure Kevin would not allow and or assigns on there.
Correct.
But that used to be a really big thing that caused a lot of title issues.
Yeah.
And another thing that causes title issues that Kevin can tell you about, he was talking about the foreclosure. Remember when Bank of America started doing those rubber stamps?
Right.
They did not check. They just foreclosed, stamp it, foreclose,
Okay, yeah.
stamp it, foreclose, stamp it. It wasn't recorded in the courthouse. It wasn't filed. A bunch of those has come back to haunt people. And title is very important. I don't think people realize how important title is.
Very important,
And
yeah.
Kevin was saying like liens and encumbrances. Okay, I hire somebody to come out to fix my HVAC.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't pay them. I don't even attempt to pay them. I don't make any restitutions. They take me to court. Well, they don't even have to take me to court. They can go get a mechanics lien. I think you have to do the mechanics lien, every 30 days you have to renew it?
I don't know exactly, but they do have to renew it.
They have to renew it every 30 or 60 days. They have to renew the mechanics lien.
Right.
So, but if it's on there when they do the title search, we have a problem, So that's another issue that you have to be careful. If, you may think, oh, well, nobody will ever know. They will know.
They will know. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Philip Newbury, and we're doing the Ask the Expert on this Saturday morning. And we're in the studio. We have Elaine Von Cannon. She's Associate Broker, ABR, SRES, Notary, Team Leader, Residential and Commercial Property Manager with Coldwell Banker Traditions of Williamsburg. And I'm going to give you I'm not going to keep it short because I want to give you this direct number, 757-288-4685, and Von Cannon Real Estate at Cox.net. And we're talking also with Kevin Onazuk, Branch Manager with J.G. Wentworth Home Lending, 113 Bulliphants Boulevard, Suite C in Williamsburg, and the cell number 757-645-8996. And, well, let me go. We want to keep the questions going because, Elaine, what sort of questions do you find that your clients ask the most often? There's got to be something like that.
Buyers are saying, well, I want to take $10,000 off and I want them to pay all my closing costs. That ain't going to happen.
Right.
The sellers have been beat up for years and they're not going to get beat up now. They still should do one or the other is what I tell my sellers. My sellers are saying, well, I'm not going to pay no closing costs for somebody. Well, look, they have to pay anywhere, depending on their type of loan, Kevin, between 3 to 5% down, depending on their type of loan. Some programs, they don't have to pay anything down. But depending on their loan, and they got to come up with closing costs and moving expenses, that's a lot of money. So I tell them, you better be prepared to either come down on your price or to pay closing costs.
Yeah. That's right.
All right, Kevin, I'm going to give that question to you also.
I'd say questions I get asked most often, there's really 4. My top 4 questions, and I'm going to focus really on the purchase side because that's what we're here to talk about today. So the biggest concern when somebody contacts me is, do I qualify for a mortgage and for how much? So that's really the most pressing thing on their mind. And because of that, we try to work very quickly because we know that it's a nervous process. People don't know if they qualify, what they qualify for. So we try to be quick so they're not like waiting on pins and needles. Second question is, how much money do I need? So Elaine mentioned down payments, cash to a closing, etc. That's a big concern as well. And there's a lot of people that don't have a lot of money saved. Fortunately, nowadays, there are programs that account for that. There's things with low down payment. There's no down payment programs available, and you don't even have to be a first-time home buyer to qualify for some of those. And as Elaine mentioned, the sellers can pay for some or all of your closing costs. So there are very affordable options to getting into a house, but that's often a big concern. Next is, what is my mortgage payment going to be? So say if I tell them they qualify for a $250,000 house, what's that mortgage payment going to be? Because just because I say they qualify for that doesn't mean that's something they're going to be comfortable with. So then we go over some different payment options and say, okay, at this price point, here's approximately what your payment's going to be. So they can find something that not only from the mortgage side I say is affordable, but they also know what's affordable for them and their budget. And I'd say the last question would be, what's my rate? What's my interest rate?
Yeah.
Everybody loves that question. It's like a badge of honor to get a low interest rate. Mortgage rates are still low. There's a lot of great low fixed rates. They're at historical lows. So that's not really a worry. In most mortgage companies, we all have about the same rates, the same, for the same types of programs, about the same interest rates. What you're looking for is somebody good, somebody confident to help you through the process, somebody local. So when problems come up, you have somebody to help you out. And often interest rate doesn't always get you the best deal financially. We have to look at down payment options, grant funds, costs of mortgage insurance. There are instances where customers will select a higher interest rate because it makes more financial sense because other costs are lower. So those are really the most significant questions that I get. Do I qualify? How much? What's my monthly payment? How much do I need to bring at closing?
Yeah.
And then, a distant fourth is, what's my rate?
And I have a question for you, Mr. Kevin.
Sure.
Okay. Suppose a first-time home buyer, just out of school maybe, or fresh off a divorce or something, and they need a cosigner. So they get a cosigner. Is it any difference in what the qualifications will be with the cosigner or than it would be without one?
It is. There's certain basics that the primary buyer needs to meet. So if it's a credit issue, a cosigner does not make up for that. So if you've got terrible credit, you just can't be on it. A cosigner, or what we call a non-occupying co-borrower, someone that is a borrower with you but it's not going to live there, they can help give some depth to credit if you're brand new and have very limited credit. Or more significantly, we use them to help with income. So if you're not income qualified, you're a young person, or just in a situation where you don't have the income to cover your current bills and the mortgage payment to qualify for the house that you want, a cosigner or that non-occupying co-borrower can help put you over the, over the hump to get qualified to purchase that particular house.
So who can be a cosigner, Kevin? Like, could Philip cosign for me?
Theoretically, he could. I mean,
all right, Philip.
Generally,
all right,
it's
we'll do it.
generally it's a relative, mom, dad, brother, sister, somebody with a vested interest in you, but it doesn't have to be. Just someone that is willing to help you out. Now, that other person has to know that they are on the hook as much as you are. So if you don't make your mortgage payments, that other person is equally responsible for those mortgage payments. If mortgage payments are missed, it shows on their credit as being late. So, when you sign on, you are a part of that deal. You're a part of that mortgage until it's paid off. And you don't come off until it's paid off, whether the house is paid off or it's refinanced and you're taken off. So once you sign, you're on there.
Now, when it goes to underwriting, now Kevin and I actually wrote an article on this back in the day when he was helping mix the mortar for the buildings with George and Thomas Jefferson. But who is underwriting? Where are they? Are they on Warp Drive? Are they the Romulans? Who in the world is the underwriter? People get confused.
Yeah. Well, once we have all of your basics here locally, your application, your supporting documentation, etc., your underwriter most of the time nowadays is a computer. We run automated underwriting, so we put all of the data in there, who you are, where you live, where you work, how much money you make, your credit, etc. We run it through this computerized approval program, and it spits out an approval most of the time. And then we just follow the, guidelines of what we need. So it'll give me like 15 things that I need to have in the file. And as long as I have those 15 things, we move forward. So that is very simple, quick, and fast nowadays, and we will rely on that. We don't second guess those automated underwriting approvals unless the information that was input is wrong. So if you say you make $100,000 a year, but you only make $20,000 a year, we're going to have to correct that. But there is still people called underwriters. We still go old school. So in the cases where we don't get that automated underwriting approval, you don't fit into their box, we do have people that make common sense underwriting decisions who will look at your situation, look at your credit. We can do explanations of, okay, I had some issues, but here's why, here's how we got it fixed. So we do still have traditional underwriters that can make those lending decisions, common sense decisions, and they're located, in any mortgage company at either a corporate office. Nowadays, most of them work from home. Everything is automated, so a lot of them sit at their computer and probably in their pajamas and a cup of coffee in the morning and are doing their work right from home.
Yep.
And that way we don't bother them.
Right.
Salespeople
Okay.
love to talk and chit chat, and if they're near us, we're going to bother them and they're not going to get their work done. And most underwriters don't want to be bothered. They just want to focus and pay attention to their details and get their job done.
Well, both of you, thank you so much, because we're getting very close to the end of the show. But Kevin, I want to ask you this: how are the mortgage rates holding?
Rates are holding steady. Not quite as low as they were a few years ago, but still at historic lows. There's very good low fixed rates, comfortably in the fours, probably mid fours, upper fours, depending upon your credit situation, what type of loan you're getting. That's generally on a 30-year, 15-year shorter term mortgages. You can get even lower interest rates. So rates are still exceptional, but they have been slowly increasing, slowly climbing to a more normalized level as our economy recovers. So if you're thinking about buying, rates are still low, but they're probably not always going to be low.
Okay. And Elaine, before we go, do you see anything affecting the market right now?
Right now, it is pretty slow. And it's an anomaly still. We talk about this every month. It hasn't picked up that much right now.
No.
And the inventory is still low.
Yeah.
The purchasers, they probably tell Kevin, he probably hears this, well, I just might as well stay and rent. Well, there's not that much on the rental market either, because I do property management. And
Right.
whenever I put something out there to rent, it used to take me 60 days to rent.
Yeah.
I usually can get it now rented in 2 weeks.
Really?
The investors that want to buy rental property, that would be a good niche to do right now,
I think it would be, yeah.
because there's not that much out there that's in good shape
Yeah.
in the rental market. It's just a very strange little market.
And Elaine's right. There's demand for homes. I pre-qualify buyers constantly, every day, that just can't find something. So it's a lack of inventory that slows
Yes.
things down. So if you have a house you're thinking about selling, now's the time to do it. There's
Right.
a lot of people that want to buy houses and not a lot out there to buy.
Okay. Getting right down to the wire. Well, thank you, Elaine and Kevin. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been an interesting Ask the Expert. This has been Philip Newbury for WMBG FM 97.7 and AM 740, Williamsburg's radio station. Now back to the greatest music ever recorded here on WMBG.